You ready? All right, it's called to order the Board of Library Trustees for the Valentine's Memorial Library for Tuesday, August 16th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gala.
Here.
Trustee Meadow absent. Trustee Rule currently absent. Trustee Smart.
Present.
Trustee Samari.
Here.
Trustee Suplet.
Here.
And President Zick.
Here. All right, any public comment? Okay, let's go into the liaison reports. Friends.
Okay, we do not have reports from either the Friends or Foundation this month. They're both on hiatus, so we'll see. Should see something next week.
Gotcha. Sounds great. All right, so let's keep moving on. Action item 1, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of July 19th, 2022. Do we have a motion?
I move approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting of July 19th, 2022.
Second. Okay, any comments, questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That one passes. Go on to action item 2, approval of the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of August 1st, 2022. Do we have a motion for that?
I move that we approve the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting for August 2022, or August 1st, 22.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 That one passes. All right, let's go on to item 3, review of the financial report for the period ended July 31st, 2022.
Okay. Real estate tax revenue totaled $33,650.76 for the month of July. The library received personal property taxes of $56,850.02 this month. We received $1,435.41 of cash in lieu of land from the village in July. Our copier printer revenue totaled $3,056.87. Meeting room fees were $125. Collection fees was $160. Lost item charges totaled $1,081.23. Donations totaled $49.91. We did not have any reimbursements from Friends of the Library or Foundation this month. Other income was $797.01. Revenue collected for vehicle stickers totaled $304. The space miscellaneous revenue was $420.59. And the total revenue collected in July was $97,933.80. On the expense side, 58% of the fiscal year has lapsed, and we have expensed 55% of our total operating budget. The favorable variance to date is $656,372. 60% of the total annual capital budget has been expensed as of July. And a bulk of that, of course, is replacement of another.
Mike, can I ask a question? May I ask a question? Just to remind me, what is other income? Like, what are some things that would
Be in
be
other
that
income.
$800?
Tracy, do you want to speak to that?
Sure, that would include things like library bags that we sell, or digital services sell certain pieces to like flash drive or CDs or things like that.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yep, I had that one question.
Oh, yeah. So there was a question regarding the Makerspace medical insurance for 2022 trending higher than budget. So that is because it's new staff. We estimated what we thought people were going to select for their medical plans. However, it's trending higher than what we had anticipated. The budget line overall, though, is favorable. So it's
So we put it
offset.
together for the entire company, entire organization.
Actually, if you just put it together for that entire Makerspace budget line, it is it's favorable. So it's offset by, I think, an overestimation of Social Security or IMRF.
Yeah, are running favorable, well, medical insurance. For benefits for Makerspace, it's favorable.
Okay, thank you.
So that'll be corrected in 2023 now that we have some experience.
All right, let's move on to action item 4, the review of the check register for the period ended July 31st, 2022.
Okay, I had a few questions regarding checks. I will go through those now. Check 83775 on page 1 to Library Furniture International in the amount of $5,608 is a 50% deposit on Kids World shelving for our refresh project. Also on page 1, check 83796 to Peregrine, Stein, Newman, Ritzman, and Bruckner. That amount for that check was $9,787.50. That was our Q2 payment for various legal services. That is for our attorney. That included work and counsel on the pride flag policy, solicitation and makerspace rental policies, personnel, and FOIA request. On page 2, check 83810 to Debbie Smart in the amount of $219.46. That's not approved yet. That is for the ALA conference in Washington, D.C. That's expense reimbursement. On page 4, check 83730 to CDW Government in the amount of $1,038.34. That is a laptop for our new deputy director. On page 5, check 83792 to Oak Brook Mechanical Services in the amount of $2,016 to reprogram and configure our chiller board. On page 7, check 83770 to Kodos Kids in the amount of $1,056. That is a Kodo kit, which includes a set of ramps, wooden manipulatives, and pegboard to encourage hands-on STEM play. This is a kit in Kids World. On page 9, check 83754 to Regine Ingloria, for the amount of $600. That is a program plan for Saturday, September 10th, called Stab Bookbinding. Stab Bookbinding is a traditional binding method practiced in Japan. Participants will learn about the history and bind their own book. And this program is part of our One Book, One Village program. On page 10, check 83774 to Libraries First in the amount of $465. That is for the museum adventure passes. So this is something that we had a number of years ago that we are bringing back. That's an annual subscription, and it'll give customers access to free passes to certain participating museums in the area. This was a popular attraction, but it was dropped a few years ago, and we're bringing it back based on customer request. On page 15, check 83726 to Brodar in the amount of $1,294.42. That is for clear book jacket cover rolls for our processing department. And then on page 16, check 83740 to Demco in the amount of $716.10. That is for a red steel book truck with 6 sloped shelves. So those are book trucks our staff use throughout the library to move items around. So those are the questions I had for the check register. I'd be happy to try to address anything else that you guys have. Yeah.
I had a question, and so like on page 14, Baker and Taylor obviously is a book company. So what's the difference between, like, books, I'm assuming are hardcover or books, AV materials I get. What does processing services mean?
So they pre-process some of the books. They prepare them with book covers or stickers or other things that we want to have done to them for, the physical item, or it could be catalog processing in preparing the electronic records. So we do have outsourced some of that to Baker and Taylor.
Don't they put the little Dewey Decimal sticker on them too, right?
Yeah,
You know, on the bottom.
Yeah, so they do
Got
a
it.
number of different things
Okay.
for us.
Yep.
Any more questions or comments? Okay, before we do a motion for the entire check register, when there is a reimbursement for a trustee, we have to do a separate roll call vote for that particular one. So I'm going to read the motion. The Board of Library Trustees approves a reimbursement to Trustee Smart for travel expenses in the amount of $219.46. For approval of that?
Second, you need a second first.
I'll second.
Well, just approve it. Just
Oh,
approve it, and then Sarah can second.
okay, I approve that.
Nice.
Sarah seconds it. Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Trustee Gala,
Yes.
trustee Rule,
Yes.
trustee Smart,
Abstain.
trustee Samari,
Yes.
trustee Suplet,
Yes.
president Sick.
Yes. Okay, now we need a motion for the entire accounts payable check register.
I'll move that we approve the account payable check register for Arlington Heights Memorial Library of July 31st, 2022. $1,352,100.21.
I second.
Okay, any comments or questions on that? Okay, roll call on that, please.
Trustee Gala,
Yes.
Trustee Rule,
Yes.
trustee Smart,
I abstain.
trustee Samari.
Yes.
Trustee Suplet,
Aye.
President Zick.
Yes. All right, very good. Moving on, executive director's report, please.
Okay. Go through a few things on the director's report, and then we have a presentation by Jennifer Chaika on the culinary programming at the Makerspace. So on page 1 of the director's report, I wanted to highlight the service project, the Letters for Ukrainian Youth. Working with an Arlington Heights resident that volunteers for Ukraine Trust Chain, youth services staff developed a letter writing service project, bringing messages of hope and support from the library's youth customers to Ukrainian children evacuated from active war zones. Letter writing stations for kids, tweens, and teens can be found in Kids World and the Hub and online through our volunteer in place program. On page 2, our genealogy and local history librarian, Nikki Camp, partnered with the Arlington Heights Historical Museum to bring a village scavenger hunt to Arlington Heights. 65 customers picked up a brochure from the library, the museum, or a farmer's market to begin the hunt. The locations on the scavenger hunt were places of historical significance to Arlington Heights and included Arlington High School, Dutton Park, Wheeling Township Cemetery, Horath Foundation, the Mueller House, Memorial Park, Portland's Garage, Arlington Lakes Golf Course, and the Maker Place. Once participants visited all 9 places, they could return to the library or museum for a prize, a bottle of pop, and a scoop of ice cream from Kilton's. Our Makerspace and circulation staff members took advantage of the prime location and set up a tent outside of the Makerspace building, or Maker Place building, during the Frontier Days Festival. The many resources and services offered at Maker Place were promoted along with craft demonstrations and giveaways. Staff interacted with over 200 visitors enjoying Frontier Days. I also included that the bike racks were in high demand during the festivities, and riders could use the repair stand and pump as they tuned up their bikes and refill their tires for the rides. And on page 3, it's been almost 3 years since the last time the library visited the Hispanic community of Mission San Juan Diego Catholic Church of Arlington Heights. In participation with Gallatin Public Library, Community Engagement Liaison Catalina Shin, Circulation Assistant Mary Weber, and Bookmobile Interim Supervisor Ron Moravik, interacted with 94 people during their annual festival. Many customers used their library cards to check out items, take the South class schedules, and say muchas gracias for the fun giveaways. Bookmarks were in Spanish and offered a detailed description of library services. And on page 5, highlight our FanCon. So FanCon returned on Saturday, July 16th. FanCon was back in person for the first time since 2019. More than 650 people of all ages celebrated fandoms in pop culture during this library-wide event. Attendees made magic wands, baby Yodas, sci-fi terrariums, and more in the Hub and Kids World craft areas. In the Hendrickson Room, attendees shopped for art and books from local artists in the Artist Alley, watched performances from Rax Geek, and won prizes with Harry Potter and video game trivia. The Cardinal Room featured video games all day, including a Tetris high score challenge and a Super Smash Brothers tournament. New this year was registered sessions where customers pre-registered for select small group activities, including an Artemis spaceship simulator, Princess Tea Party, drawing workshops, and the always popular Jedi training, which was held outdoors at the Arlington Heights Historical Museum. The festivities were captured on the library's social media pages by social media takeover partner Sam of Black Zero Cosplay, with communications and marketing specialist William Tolan and graphic designer Stephanie Batista, who led production of this year's video now on YouTube. And I strongly suggest everybody check out this video. It's about 3 minutes long. It's wonderful. They did a fantastic job on it, and it just kind of sums up the whole day. Then on page 7, our summer volunteer squads. This summer, 125 Arlington Heights teens, grades 7 to 12, gave back through our summer volunteer squads program. In 2022, SVS was comprised of 9 different squads that met weekly to focus on various projects or service projects. In total, teen volunteers clocked around 989 service hours in June and July, presented 25 library programs, and completed other projects to support the library in our community. 8, our Sunday Musicale. After a long COVID hiatus, Sunday Musicale returned this year. New this season, the library will be offering a full 12 months of live performances. The series is being hosted and curated by Programs and Exhibits Assistant Jace Semla. Jay worked with the Arlington Heights Park District to prepare for June and July concerts, the first in the history of a long-running program to have been held outdoors. 140 music lovers came to see Arlington Heights' own Big Brothers final on June 12th, and 52 came for Chicago genre blenders Mark Garib on July 24th. Sunday Musicale continues to be generously sponsored by the Friends of the Library. Attendees and performers alike appreciated the opportunity to enjoy an outdoor show in the summer. Okay, then on the last page, I just want to highlight the staff highlights. So congratulations once again to our Collection Services Manager, Lisa Babas, for winning the 2022 Illinois Library Association TBS Technical Services Award. This annual citation is awarded to an individual who has made a substantial contribution in the area of library technical services. I put a link in there to the press release if you want to see in detail. Then our library security department was recommended to the director of the Oswego Library by the Department of Homeland Security, which reached out to them for assistance with establishing security protocols and procedures. A copy of the library's procedures and emergency flip charts were shared with the Oswego Library. Other libraries have reached out to Arlington Heights Security Department for help and advice on being an effective security strategy and team. And then our info services supervisor, Elizabeth Ludeman, was appointed to the Public Library Association's Continuing Education Advisory Group. In this role, Elizabeth will serve for 2 years, contributing to the Public Library Association's continuing education offerings by reviewing webinar proposals and seeking out professional development programming for public library professionals. That is all I have for the Executive Director's report. Happy to answer any questions or highlight anything else.
I've got a couple questions. Do you have a question?
I was gonna say that I love the historical hunt. I saw quite a bit about that online, so I hope they do that again. That's super fun. And just all the outreach in the summer, there's a lot going on, and it's great to meet people where they are at the Mission San Juan Diego Festival, and obviously Frontier Days and the Farmers Market, and that's amazing for FanCon. So lots going on.
And one important element that I left out of FanCon was we had a belly dancing Wookiee. Unfortunately, I didn't have the picture, but I just thought I'd
Is he in the
point that out.
video?
Yes, he is in the video.
Excellent.
A couple of questions. One, the point of with Oswego, wanting to talk to our security department. Obviously, we have a great security department. Have they ever given a presentation to the board? It seems to me they did it years ago. It's been a long time.
It's been a while. They're on our list to come and have a focus report for you guys. So you'll probably see that probably before the end of the year or early next year.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to know more about this great security department that we have here. Okay, the other question I got, dashboard. Look at the dashboard. And something I was looking at, it just started to make my head hurt. So I got to ask a question. So print. Look at circulation, print is up year to date 2.5%. And when I go on the other side, programs is up total of 23.7%. Program attendance, is up 23.7%. But then when I look on the other page, library visits, main library is up 85.9%. So forgive me, but I keep thinking about this. I'm like, it seems like there's a lot of people that are here that aren't necessarily coming for programs because that math number doesn't work. So what's going on? Is this the hub being used more? Are there other things like that are being done?
Well, I think actually what we're seeing is a shift in how people are getting their materials, that people are coming into the library as opposed to just going through drive-through, compared to last year. I think we're just seeing more people come out and be in the physical space.
Okay. So people just kind of using the
Study rooms,
and everything a little bit more.
Yeah, we're seeing the tables being used downstairs, the study tables being used, programming is continuing to grow, stuff like that. So I think it's just more people coming in the doors than what we saw last year. People were finding other ways to use our services outside of last year.
And with summer reading happening right now, that increases the foot traffic quite a bit.
Okay. And then also just looking at the downloadables number, and how that's and I get that really spiked during the COVID time, but last year we were coming out of it, but it is down. That is down a lot, almost 35%.
It is, but it was very high. It was very high still, even last year. So I think that's to be expected as we're coming out of this. But we're still comparing to a year where people were choosing to download instead of coming in to get their items or physical items.
This looks pretty flat, as far as that goes. Is there anything else that we need to offer, or is there anything else we need to do as far as outreach?
We're doing quite a bit of outreach, as Amy just mentioned. We are looking at other ways for people to get their items to bring the circulation number up. But I think it's just going to be a slow progression of getting people back into the building. But as you see, the numbers are creeping up a little bit, as far as the main library actual visits go.
Plus, you gotta remember this is our first year that we don't have backstretch either.
Sure.
Oh, that's
Still a little bit,
interesting.
yeah.
You think that's affecting the downloadable aspect of it, or because library visits are up quite a bit?
Yeah, but we're not going over there anymore. I think that was engaging people, to be honest with you.
Again, I keep asking, sorry, the same questions. What does other mean again on this chart? So under circulation, print, audiovisual, downloadable, ILL, and then would other be the
What's in that?
of thing, library of things?
Yeah, the library of things.
Magazines.
Yeah, magazines, newspapers.
Mhm.
Yeah, just miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Yeah, games, puzzles.
Well, and actually, we have been kind of promoting the newspapers and magazines. I mean, we did promote that for a couple months, so that makes sense. And I feel like in general, everywhere, Arlington Heights, the Park District, the Historical Society are doing more outreach. I noticed that we always used to go to the Irish Heritage, 2 days, because it's right up the block from my house. And now they're doing it's a Heritage Day and then an Irish Day. So I'm interested. That was smart. I'm wondering what that looks like this year.
Yeah.
But, I feel like the library very often has a presence, or I know they're probably doing a big push for the last weekend of Arlington al fresco. Right?
Harmony Fest.
Harmony Fest, that's right, that's what it's called. So yeah, all those things.
Yeah, and we're out there quite a bit.
Yeah.
With bookmobile and stuff. We're our staffing is pretty low in bookmobile right now, but we're still out at block parties, we're at the farmers market, or at story times.
Right.
Stuff like
Well,
that.
that's where
So,
people,
yeah.
depending on your block, that's one thing, but the farmer's market always has a lot of people.
Let's move on.
Okay,
Cool.
so yeah, I would like to invite Jennifer Chaika to join us and talk.
Thank
To
you,
us about
and
the
Neil's gonna help me out, so
Oh.
we did bring, I'll call it refreshments, we brought refreshments / snacks, we brought some food over from the Baker Place. It was actually a great reminder that having a kitchen facility to do this sort of preparation is, unbeatable. We did not do as good a job preparing it in the programs and exhibits workroom, so I apologize.
Oh, thank you.
Wow,
My.
So what you have is you're gonna have a gazpacho, which is what Grace made in today's Chef's Choice class. The gazpacho has fresh tomatoes from the gardens.
So
It has
pretty.
peaches, it has cucumbers. That was a very simple recipe and people enjoyed it. Then you also have a brie that I made look terrible, even though Grace had prepared it for me and showed me how to present it. It just didn't travel well from 4:30 until now. So you have a brie with a blackberry, or is it blueberry jam that she makes. It's her
Blueberry.
recipe, and she carries that at Scratch for the kitchen.
Wow.
And the reason we wanted you to have some snacks while we're talking about the kitchen is because this is largely, again, the reason we have a facility for this learning. To learn about food and to touch food and to eat food elevates the experience hugely and gives people so much more practical experience, and it's just been wonderful to watch this session. So you do have a report that I have shared ahead of time. I'm not going to go through the report verbatim, but there will be some pieces that I know you'll probably have bigger questions around, so I have some time for that. Just to give you a little bit of an overview of what we presented to you. The narrative piece at the beginning about the inception, I think all of you have carried that through from the beginning of this project, from scoping this project. So that's something that we don't take credit for, but it's something that we know that The library administration, the board of trustees have been with since day one. Again, the culinary space and the kitchen space was identified before programs and exhibits was pulled into this project. We're just very happy to be the people that deliver it. And I think that that goes to show that the board and the library administration, as well as all the staff who now get to work in the space, understand the importance of hands-on education. We wouldn't have opened a space that was so incredibly hands-on if that was not something that was important to us. I do want to give you a little bit of fun Pew data from one of their adult learner studies. So I'm a huge fan of Pew Research Center. The last study they did on adult learning was in 2016. And they learned in that study that 73% of adults consider themselves lifelong learners. So I think that's just a great backdrop for us to be aware of when we're talking about all of the things that we offer through programming. And 80% of personal learners say they pursued knowledge in an area of personal interest because they wanted to learn something that would help them make their life more interesting and full. And I think we can say without a doubt that that is something people are doing in spades in our kitchen, or they're in a line trying to get in to do that. Also in the report, you've got a little timeline and milestones. This is really just kind of to give you an idea of when programs and exhibits came into this project. So myself, I had the opportunity to participate in meetings with the architects. I had the opportunity to work with Jack Bauer very closely. Once Chris Kruger was hired, we brought him into that fold. But that very first budget was just Jack and I talking with Mike, talking with Lat, trying to figure out what we wanted, how many classes we thought we wanted, pulling together data. And then a year later, we were at the point where we still weren't open, but we were getting ready for a full year of Maker Place under our belt. And then some of the things that we included in the timeline really are just to remember, it's been a wild 10 months. You know, we opened during COVID. That is still true. We were masked. We were using restaurant style dining guidelines for the first 2 months of the space. And it's been smooth the entire time. It's taken a lot of really good communication with people who are registered, a lot of really good communication with the people who didn't have a chance to get into classes, amongst ourselves, and certainly between the programs and exhibits team and the Maker Place team. We're in pretty constant communication right now. So that timeline hopefully just helps you get an idea of what was notable so far. The fast stats, we will spend more time on. I've included that in the presentation tonight. But the scope and important context are the things that really are kind of the drivers of what the classes, who they're for, how many we offer to each person, how frequently, and that is stuff that as staff, everybody kind of knows now, especially staff who answer telephones or in the call center. Sherry is one wonderful staff who I've been in there on registration mornings and heard her taking these calls and registering folks. But those are the things that we know. This is the scope that we've set so far. So hopefully those were helpful pieces of information to you. Assessing demand is kind of our jam. That's what we're doing right now, is we're assessing demand all the time. We do that class by class, we do that week by week, we do that month by month, we do that through the survey results, and we show you some of those survey results from our participants in the board packets each month, and some narrative feedback. I guess I would say, and I've got some survey results that we can show to talk about some themes that we're seeing in survey results a little bit later. But what I do want to point out about that graph is that when we began the kitchen project and opening the kitchen classes, we were using a waitlist method that's very similar to what we would have used for any other hands-on classes. And that means that we would typically not want a waitlist to be so long that it's hopeless. You want a waitlist to be like a manageable amount and it means something. So we were doing wait lists more like 16 seats in the class, 12 on the wait list, just in case there's cancellation, just in case there's activity and movement. And then the reason you see the spike in March is because we changed the way we were doing things intentionally. So when we first changed to a queue, that was very intentionally increasing the wait list so we could see how long it got. We wanted to know. We're cutting off at 12, but we know the calls keep coming in. So we want to know how many more people are calling or would have wanted to get in that class. So totally different intentional measurements there. That's why you're seeing a spike. But what's interesting to us is that spiked in May. And so June, July, our first summer of classes, we saw a little bit less demand than in May. With just all the fun data that we have fun with all the time. The unique users is something you may have questions about, and we can get to that a little bit later. And then I did end with what we think the current challenges are. We've identified for being in the kitchen over 55 programs. And the goals that we want to work toward, the things that keep coming up repeatedly as the next steps. So that is what I presented to you in print. I'll go ahead and I'll give you a little bit more information now via this presentation, and then we can have some time for questions. I hope there will be some. Yeah. Okay. So this afternoon, Stephanie came to the kitchen and took our picture. I wanted to make sure that while we're talking about the kitchen, you know exactly who the people are that you see in the kitchen. Now, regrettably, Chef Brian is on vacation this week, so he did not get to be in this photograph. But the people who have been driving the kitchen since we opened in October of last year for our very first program, which was part of last year's One Book, One Village, are the programs and exhibits team with Chris and with Brian. And of course, Jack was a huge driver of setting the whole stage for everything. So from left, we have Neil Parker, who's here with us tonight, because he'll also be talking about OBOB. We have Emily Muzinski, myself, Chris Kruger, who is the manager of the space, and Jay Semla, who is the latest staff person to join the programs and exhibits team. He joined in April. He's an Arlington Heights resident. He's been a wonderful, wonderful addition to the team. And I will let you learn a little bit about each of these team members in their own words. So I will read to everybody because I don't know how good the clarity is on this slide. Maker Place Branch Assistant Manager Chris Kruger oversees day-to-day operation at the Maker Place. An enthusiastic home cook and certified serve-safe kitchen manager. Chris oversees kitchen equipment ordering and assists with maintenance and maintaining cleanliness standards. He's also a back-to-back two-time vegan chili cook-off winner and snaps pics of his home cooking at the Quarantine Culinarian. So now you can all follow Chris on Instagram if you weren't already. Maker Place Culinary Advisor Brian Visaggio manages the kitchen at the Maker Place. This involves working with chef instructors, evaluating equipment, setting up for classes, occasionally teaching them, and cleaning. More cleaning than you can imagine. He attended culinary school at Kendall College and worked as a sous chef at Two Sparrows in Chicago. Other interests include playing guitar, home recording, and raising future evil geniuses. He is also a one-time chili cook-off, unofficial, popular winner, and official loser. He did choose to end his bio with the word loser. That was his choice, not mine. But hopefully it gives you an idea. You know, I think each of you might be aware already that Chef Brian is our trained chef in the space. He's the person we hired. We wanted somebody that had that background, and he is the only one that has that background in culinary school. But you'll see that there's a through line of a lot of interest in culinary. So I think we've got a good group that's really contributing. I'm Jennifer Chaika. I won't read it in the third person. I'm a longtime advocate for informal learning for hands-on social experiences. In 22 years in libraries, I've seen, embraced, and driven change in the way libraries meet their community's needs through programming. I am smitten we are able to provide a kitchen space for learning in the Arlington Heights community. I once dreamed of attending French pastry school and opening a bakery called Scoopy Cupcake, but I'm now content with home baking, home gardening, and enjoying and appreciating delicious meals out. Emily apparently is my mini-me because Emily has very similar interests. Emily loves planning and facilitating hands-on programs. A lover of food and storytelling, she's excited to see what community connections can be made through the Maker Place kitchen. After work, you can find her browsing new cookbooks, which she reads more often than novels. On the weekends, you can find her walking the dog Shadrach or eating a hot dog at the White Sox game. Strangely, she lives right by Wrigley Field, so she moved into the wrong neighborhood. Programs and exhibit specialist Neil Parker, sitting behind you, moonlights as a home chef when his wife doesn't feel like cooking. He believes there's nothing better than sipping on a stiff drink and burning something on the grill while listening to killer tunes blast from his garage. He's a big fan of encased meats and has been known to share a burger or two with this veal mix spot who cannot cook. And then programs and exhibits assistant Jay Semla is an omnivore, but as a practical person and a longtime cook in his household, he enjoys making creative and achievable vegetarian dishes and likes to find new his favorite spice. He also looks forward to growing and sharing tomatoes every summer, has fun playing and singing in a garage band, and enjoys spending time with his family and their pooch Rosie, his favorite allergen. Jay did bring us all tomatoes today, so I can attest. So hopefully that gives you an idea of who the faces of the kitchen are and who the community is interacting with when we're in there, because in the same way they're learning hands-on, they're very much interacting with us. Now, our role is something that we're still kind of assessing day by day as it happens, and it really is an interesting mix of host and bus person. We're doing a lot to keep the space clean and tidy while people are cooking. It's important to do for safety. It's a tight space when you have 16 sitting in it. It's important to keep those tables clean, to keep the mise en place going. It's important for us to be there to support our culinary instructors, our chefs, the people that we invite in to teach in our space. That said, as we go on and talk about the kitchen more, you'll see that, we spend a lot of time in it. I think 10 months in, we know that maybe we're not going to be the best people to do that long term. That maybe we're going to want people at a different pay rate or volunteering in some capacity. But for right now, everything that we're doing in that kitchen is building those relationships. So we feel very comfortable being there now. And once we have more established relationships, I think there's going to be some really creative ways to bring in more staff, share the wealth. Because the reality is each program is about 5 hours of our time, which is a lot longer than a typical program outside of a FanCon. And that is stretching our resources in different ways. It's something we prepared for over a year, over 2 years really. But until it happened, we didn't know what it was going to feel like, what it was going to look like. And then, as I alluded in one of the pieces of the written report as well, we also don't know what balancing the kitchen with rentals is going to look like yet, because those are just beginning. So let us tell you what the customers love. We're there, we see it, and we hear it from them. We also collect surveys, as I think everybody here knows. We're really, we love the survey. We love getting the satisfaction rating. We love hearing the actual quotes from our attendees. But I promise you they match. Everything that people put in writing is identical to the sort of feedback they're giving us in class. We do say, tell us in the survey when we send a survey, but there is nothing like these classes for people to kind of just be magnetically drawn to us as they're ending and thank us. I don't think I've ever heard as many grateful thanks or appreciation for the tax dollar. People that have come up to us and tell us, I tell my friends at such and such library, you should see what we get for our tax dollars in Arlington Heights. So people are really seeing that we're making choices to give them this experience with the tax dollars that they pay to the library, and that they're happy to pay those tax dollars to the library. But going through all of our surveys since last October, the first class was a class that Neil led as part of One Book, One Village, and that was making not herbal teas. That's not the correct name.
Traditional Native American teas.
Yes, traditional Native American teas. So that very first class wasn't even a heavy cooking class. No equipment was used. We were just using the kitchen because we wanted to start establishing the kitchen space as a space for food consumption, learning, talking. From that very first class, though, this has been the consistent feedback. The things that people tell us they love. They love the atmosphere. They love that it's a hands-on experience, and they love the instructors. Without a doubt, you could go through pretty much every single survey comment since October and find that it fits one of those three categories. I've got a few examples of what that means, what atmosphere means. So some of the things that I pulled out as being atmospheric were the obvious, the atmosphere of positive energy. The question that's asked is, what did you enjoy most in the class? So the atmosphere and positive energy. It was a fun and collaborative class. The word collaborative comes up over and over again in the surveys, and that is because that is essentially the model. It's a collaborative space for people who might not know each other, sit together at a table and work together. And they love it. Nobody leaves disliking it. People literally mean the space when they're talking about atmosphere. I love the new Maker Place facility, and the presenter was great. I was blown away by the facility, equipment we were provided, fresh veggies we were given to practice our cutting. The session was very well organized. So all those things contribute to atmosphere in my interpretation. Again, everything was organized, what an amazing space. And then, people call out some of the equipment that they love. So loved the new KitchenAid mixers. And that's one of the benefits. You're trying things that maybe we don't have at home. When we talk about hands-on, again, that's kind of the foundation of the whole space, but people are telling us that it's what stands out to them to make the experience. Practical hands-on experience is what they enjoy most. Working as a group to actually step through the process. Everyone took part in the final product and got to bring a sample home. Great practice to watch first, then make our own. Being shown how to make them, that was about pierogi specifically, and actually doing it in class. Learning about food I don't normally make and taking it home to share with family. Being able to cook and with new ingredients. I did not do a slide on the presenter feedback, but wanted to instead tell you about the presenters that have been with us so far. It's honestly every single survey comment has positive praise about presenters. Received no negative feedback about a presenter today. I think most everybody at the table may be aware that Chef Grace Gowdy, who happens to have, been competing on a national television show while she's been working with us in the kitchen, has blown everybody away and is in very huge demand. That does not mean that there's any other instructor that people don't like. In fact, when we have participants who have now taken classes with multiple different instructors, those are the conversations they'll have with Neil, with myself, with Emily, with Jay. They'll stop and say like, oh, I love that Grace does this, but Andrea was really good at this, or I really like Jen because she did this. So it's really valuable that the participants, the customers, our community members get an opportunity to meet different instructors because they're really just learning even more that way. So as I promised, I said we would go back to the fast stats because I think, to me, I hope this is the meat and potatoes of what helps you understand where we're at right now. So 55 classes since October 2021. Again, that includes the very first class that Neil led with Marcy, who came to us through District 214 education, community education. And of course, we were looking for people that had the knowledge about Indigenous teas at that point, very specifically, and Neil was able to identify Marcy. Included in that 55 classes, there are 13 different instructors who have taught with us. Classes on to tell you how that breaks down. So the people who have been repeat instructors, Grace has taught 22 classes to date of the 55. So she's 40% of our kitchen's education so far. Andrea, who is a wonderful home cook. She is not a trained chef. She, I think, actually was involved in Pampered Chef at one point, but she has started this food business. She does a lot of virtual classes and has done virtual classes for us previously. She does a lot of breads. She does a lot of simple recipes, and she'll focus on one recipe. And she'll focus on taking home and letting something rise and telling you the whole process. She focuses on having a family and being busy and making things easy. So she just has coming from a different place than Grace. She's very, very well reviewed, and she's done 9 of our classes to date. She's done jamming with us. She's done preserves and things like that in the canning of skill set. So that's 16% of our classes that Andrea has taught. Our own Chef Brian has taught 6 classes to date. So Chef Brian started in March of this year teaching the knife skills class, which we knew from the beginning we wanted to be one of our essential courses. Took him a little while to develop the curriculum for that. And since he's done it, obviously each time he teaches it, he tweaks it a little bit and improves it a little bit. We're getting the price down for that wonderfully. It is without a doubt our most affordable class because we are not paying for Brian's time in the same way we're paying for other instructors' time. And depending on what's fresh and what he's getting, and if he wants to get extra just in case, and then you have 16 people come. That's a very good price per person. And then Nikki, who works at Rails, actually works at the Reaching Across Illinois Library System and is a marketing professional there. Nikki is a trained barista who's done a lot of coffee programs with us. So she is a really good instructor. She's been in libraries 20 years. She understands adult learners. She really understands bringing that kind of history, but also bringing their hands on the smells and the aromas and tasting and bringing it all together in a nice experience. So she's been reviewed really well too. Also on staff, Carrie Bailey, who is our tween services librarian, has instructed 3 classes. One of her classes was modified to virtual in the month of February. And we had a little bit of a virtual, project. while we were kind of having an experience with the COVID rise. So Carrie has taught 3 to date, most recently in July. I believe in your packet right now, you have the review of her tween tarts class that she did, that she had 23 kids in over 2 sessions. So we will continue to build up more staff-led programs over time too. The local businesses, as called out on the bottom, that have already worked with us in the kitchen. Scratchboard via Grace, absolutely represented and loved in the kitchen space. Terry Park from DOA has done kimchi making with us, which is great because we're always looking for more cultural food programs, and we want those to be represented authentically by people who can talk about the culture because they've lived the culture. We've had Mark from Zynga Brew. So that was kind of a fun outside the box one. He met Chris and Make the Place staff at, I believe, chamber events or maybe our opening, and he expressed interest. So Neil worked with him and they developed, like they figured out how to make this ginger beer brewing class. That was gonna be really fun, tons of takeaways. He was generous. He brought, I think, 6 packs for everybody to bring home after they made their own.
Moscow Mule.
Yeah, they have good
Wow.
beers for Moscow mules.
Yeah, so hopefully that just gives you an idea of like the range too. So, you know, we're not only just like cutting and chopping and cooking on stovetops in there. And then this Saturday will be our first program in which we are serving tastes of beer with Beer on the Wall. So that's a continued partnership. Beer on the Wall has worked with us virtually and done tastings over COVID where we would ask our customers to go pick up a 4-pack at the restaurant and they would talk through them. When we've had them on Zoom, they've been wonderful. And in fact, the programs have gone, like 10, 15, 20 minutes long because everybody's talking and having fun. We won't have that sort of time in the kitchen, so we turn them over quickly. But we're really excited to do that. We're really excited that the village has made that accessible for us because it is an educational experience, because it is tastes, because they are a current liquor license holder in the village. There's nothing that we need to do. There's no additional anything required on our part as far as like a special event license. We only needed to obtain a certificate of insurance from them for our finance team, for our records. So that's really nice to continue working with them, and that opens up the door to working with other businesses such as Cocoa and Blue, who do the same sort of thing with spirits and tastings, with wine shops. So there's a lot of opportunity there to bring in more businesses with tastings. Okay, so then with the 55 classes, 818 attendees, that does translate to about 14.4 people per class. As I had mentioned, our capacity is 16. The exception to that would be between classes. Between classes are letting in 12. They want to just leave more room in the space around the tables. They don't want to be too cramped in there. So overall, that means we're not hitting perfect attendance with everything, which does disappoint us. We do a lot of work to try to face people and make people show. We can't do that, but it is something we're spending time doing, we're watching closely, and we're always aware of. And believe me, if there is a class where 14 people show or 13 people show, in our team's chats, when we report that attendance, it's just like frowny face, frowny face, frowny face. We tried. We've done some things where we've called up the people who are on the wait list to say, hey, come anyway, just in case. We'll get you a seat at the back. Like, we want you at the table. We want you there. So we're trying to play the numbers. Playing the numbers is something we do with all of our programs. Just want to make sure you are aware that we are aware that we want that to be 16. I can report that today we had a wonderful victory. We had our first class with 18 because it let 2 people who dropped in into Chef Grace's afternoon class, and she had enough food to stretch. So we'll keep working on that. The 18,000 to date includes fees for presenters. That includes the food costs. The way food is purchased is kind of all over the place. Some instructors, a limited number, like Nikki with her coffee programs, she'll include what she's going to bring in her fee. She knows exactly what she's going to bring, what the tasting accompaniments are going to be. So hers is included in her fee. Some instructors will give us a list so we can shop. We can take our Mariano's card, we can take our Texas letter, we can go to Trader Joe's, we can go wherever they need us to go. Other instructors want to choose their food themselves. They want to choose the fresh vegetables, the fresh ingredients that they like. In this past weekend's class, which was the first with Shilpi Saxena, who also teaches at District 214 Culinary Education. Neil recruited her to bring her over. She's also a botanic gardens instructor. She was fantastic, but like she wanted to get spices at the Indian food store. She gave us part of the list. We did part of the purchase. She brought part of the purchase. So it all works differently, but there are two different budget lines that are comprising that $18,000 fee that you see there. So over 55 classes, that does come to about $20 per person with the attendance that we calculated. I've calculated this every way from here to the moon. So I have calculations which include what did we expect a class to cost per person if 16 people came? What did the class actually cost per person if only 13 people came? So we have great records of kind of looking at all that and watching that and trying to get those numbers into a good place. We already projected our budget for next year using those numbers. So I think that covers everything on that slide. And I wanted to give a lot of time for questions. Believe me, there are a million things I could have included in here, so I really want to know more than anything you want to know.
A couple of questions, I guess, to start. When you made a comment about 5 hours, I think it's 5 labor hours, people hours to put together each program?
Yep.
Okay.
It does not include the scheduling, because I mean, in some cases, I consider the scheduling our job always, like, so we're sending emails and we're doing, you know, payment requests and we're doing calls to talk about the format or walkthroughs of the space. That kind of includes the day of stuff.
So what does that mean? But you said it's a lot higher than what you do for other programs. What give us a reference point? Is it 2 hours, 1 hour?
Other programs, I would say, are closer to 2.5 to 3 hours. So even of some of those that you saw in the report, Sunday Musicale, that's a longer day. For Jay and Neil to go over to the park, to be outdoors, to prepare in a space like that, that could be 4 or 5 hours staff time. If there is a lecture in the Hendrickson room and we're meeting a presenter here 30 minutes ahead of time, making sure their PowerPoint is working, they're able to clean up because our facilities department is here and they do that, that could be 2 hours of our time.
And then that includes, like you were talking about, going out shopping to buy, buy things and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
So you get that, you get those extra things that you're not getting at other programs that we're trying to.
Yes, and certainly there are extra things we've gotten at other programs, but let's even use Dan and Raymond for an example. Like we pop popcorn at Dan and Raymond. And into the room a little earlier than usual because we're doing that popcorn. All we're doing is submitting a request to finance. They're doing the purchasing, it's being delivered to the building. So grocery shopping is a little bit different than some of the other purchasing that we would do to support programs in the past.
Okay, very good. There's one other question. Oh, by the way, very good presentation. I hear so many people. This is probably what I've been hearing about from people in the village more than anything. Is the culinary classes and everything that we have here, and everybody loves it. Chef Gracious and everybody else. The one issue that I hear about, and you hit on it, are the wait lists. I'm hearing that's probably what I hear the majority when there's any kind of negative that comes up. Now, the one thing I'm a little worried about, and you said, okay, you're paying attention to these a little bit more, like who's calling in and things like that, but the numbers have gone down. Could they be going down because people are just kind of getting to the point they don't think they're going to be able to get into the classes anymore?
I think we have to presume that could be one of the reasons. We don't know. So for my team and for Chris and Brian and the team that talks about this and tries to analyze this, we think there's 2 things. Summer. So right off the bat, we had the first few nicer weather classes, we did see some no-shows and we weren't terribly surprised because we know that pattern from programs generally that, oh, it's beautiful out, I'm not going to go anymore. So I think it could be the combination of summer, people on vacations, the schedule doesn't work for them, their schedule is different over the summer if they're parents of kids and they're taking kids to this place and that place. I see Trustee Roll shaking her head, and as somebody who manages a hands-on space, I trust that she knows some of these patterns too. So I think it could be both, and I think we could do a better job, even at the end of this month, to tell people, because I don't think people really know that the lottery system gives them a better chance. So the lottery system that we implemented several months ago, starting in June, gives them a chance. So if people did give up and they tried 6 months in a row and never got in, I think we can message people about the lottery system. I think them reading that in the newsletter isn't the same as saying, like, did you know the lottery means you might get a chance to did you know the lottery means you don't have to be online at 9 a.m. You have 24 hours to get into it, and then we'll tell you if you got in a class. So that's probably a combination of the two. Yes, maybe some people gave up. Yes, maybe a lot of schedules changed.
I guess the only real way to bring those down is just to have more programs. I mean, I guess you
Yes.
could expand the classes, but you don't want to do that. And my guess is you don't want to do that and just have more classes. I think we're getting towards that as we move along.
Yes. Yes.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I think it's amazing. I also hear more about this than anything else. I have a couple things. When you were talking about, obviously, as a new entity, you want to be very hands-on in your department. But I'm thinking that in the future, when you feel comfortable, what about an intern? What about volunteers or even just part-time staff like assigned to that? Because I don't know, perhaps your department grocery shopping isn't the best use of your time. And certainly the cleaning up, but I get it that you want to be there at the beginning. I'm wondering, are there other Arlington Heights businesses that are, want to get involved in Maker Place? I'm thinking of like the Bakester or some of the other little restaurants downtown.
Bakester is one we haven't had success connecting with. We've invited them several times and they are not ready to instruct. So I think we have to imagine that for some businesses, it's hard for them to find time to send somebody out of their business. The other factor is just that like maybe a business owner is excited about the idea of their chef getting out, like, oh, we'd love to be in the kitchen, but the business owner isn't going to be the one instructing.
Right.
The business owner needs a chef that's going to do that,
Yeah,
that they've calculated that into their chef's time to do that, or says like, hey, hire my chef
right,
because
right.
they do this. So yeah, a lot of learning with that and still a lot of exploration with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We are in talks with Nani, who has a new chef. So we've learned a little bit about him and are excited to meet him. And heard that he's very hands-on with the customers and talking to them and how's the food and really connecting. So that's somebody that we hope we'll see in the kitchen soon.
And just what you were talking about, the lottery system, I agree with you. I don't think people know as much. My friends that have taken these classes, we're so psyched to get in and sometimes haven't. And I feel like maybe in the next month or two, a lot of social media on that. I mean, that's something that might translate pretty well to social media.
Yeah, and it's been hard. I mean, it's been hard for Mary's team, of course,
Right.
because we have demand.
Right, you
So
have full classes.
It's hard to decide how to tell the story because you don't want to promote to people
Yeah,
when they may not get in, and then you may be generating a larger pool of people that are disappointed. So it is a really hard balance. Absolutely.
John, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Thank you very much, Greg. Jennifer, I want to congratulate you on a fantastic program that you are nurturing along and that you've really made a huge success and have brought a lot of visibility to the Maker Place through your work. So thank you for that. And thanks for putting together a really inclusive presentation that also involved the Maker Place and the culinary arts as well. I want to thank you for pulling together data. It's really important that we see that data. I think it's going to help your decision making. Will also help us be better informed as trustees to assist you as you go down the path that you choose to go with for the Maker Place Kitchen. And then lastly, I want to go to page 5 of your report because I think you're indicating something here that I think is really important, and that's fundamentally a strategic plan for your culinary arts in the Maker Place. And I can see your thinking here a little bit, I think. I hear your learning curve. I hear that the experience coming from that. And if what you're suggesting on page 5 is that, yes, in fact, it's appropriate to sit down and do a strategy for the kitchen, what it is we want to be, what it is, the direction in which we get, the potential for doing virtual and streaming. I would encourage you to go ahead and do that if that's your intention, but perhaps you can help us better understand page 5.
Okay, yeah, no, I think more than anything, it's the things that the programs and exhibits team and the Maker Place team kind of hear recommendations for. We agree, yes, that's possible, yes, that could be possible, yes, that's one way we could extend the audience. And some of the, and so there's a lot of very different ideas. One thing I should address and didn't address in here is that we are not broadcasting these programs in addition to being hands-on. We're really leaning into them being hands-on. There is a camera in the space. The camera is going to be, I guess, optimized is what I would call it. We're getting ready to install a screen, which will hang in front of the hood. We're getting ready to move the camera to a position that we find will be a better capture of the activity in the kitchen and maybe get a little bit of a peek into the stovetop, which we do know that even students in the class sometimes struggle to see when there's stovetop activity. But yeah, for the purposes of the scope, I should have mentioned, we did not pursue, let's also make this a virtual program that you can just watch, because we didn't think we could give a good experience doing that to start. Now that we've got 10 months under our belt, there's a lot of different ways we see that this could happen. This could happen in small bites. It could happen in a small video where after Grace made this gazpacho with the class today, in 5 minutes on an iPhone, she could tell us about the gazpacho recipe, do a little demo, show a part of that. So it's not giving people the class, but it's giving people a window into the kitchen. So there are just a lot of very different ways we could do it. And I think your comment about a mission to drive that would help us. Also, we've talked about the fact that there were 3 tween classes in here, but like right now we focused on adults for this initial period of growth. Things that we could focus on, like community partners, bringing in people who have the biggest need for food literacy. Those are all things that I think would be driven by the mission. So yes, this page starts with the mission because all of these possibilities are there. And how do you prioritize them? And how do you decide which ones to go with first? And I just wanted to make sure that everybody at this table understood we see lots of possibilities. And we want the feedback to help us move in that direction. Does that answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, that does. Thanks, Jennifer.
3 things. One, I think the Bakester probably is focusing on her expansion and afternoon tea business. So I think that, that'll circle. So that's the first thing. Second thing is out of the box kind of thing. Have we given any consideration down the road and long range? I mean, we have space there to expand the kitchen towards the front door, where I think we use as a staging area. I think that would not be a bad thing to be thinking about, and then expanding the table and attendance. That's my last thing. And I think, second thing, and my last thing is, I think we also need to keep in content that we really haven't rolled this out as a profit center yet, which is, I know, coming. I just approved something today in another hat that I wear in the state of Illinois. So I know that there's going to be some revenue being generated. And we have to remember, I think, in the contents trustees, that piece hasn't rolled out yet. That's going to put this thing over the top. When people can see the kind of social and educational events that they can have for a very, very reasonable price. I think that we're going to be, this is going to take off to a whole nother dimension. And I think we need to keep that in context.
Absolutely. I mean, we're excited for that too. And it's funny that you mentioned the footprint of the kitchen, because today was the very first day when I let in participant 17 and 18 to sit in a stool at the back of the room. It was the very first day that I stood at that glass wall and I said, I wish we could go back in time and add the extra 8 feet into the kitchen.
Well, you can just push that wall right back. It's not a hard thing to do. I mean, really, if you think about it, just move the glass wall, right? You thought of that when you were building this, I know. So you could just move that back and you would have 2 more tables.
But it is true that the tables outside of that window area are kind of underutilized. And
Yeah,
they're not
vacant space,
built
right?
to be a crowd. So even if it was a matter of like watching through the glass, it's not set up in a manner that feeds into that sort of activity.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Any questions?
And what you said just made me think of something like maybe somewhere down the road, there could be, twice a month, we present a new local chef courtesy of the Friends of the Library who are sponsoring this one particular program, or, maybe we do this, you know, the night program twice a month because there's so much need, and maybe that's sponsored by the foundation or friends.
Yes, during budget meetings, Mike, Dana, and Barry, and I, with Tracy, did talk about the fact that there are different
There are
ways we can
sponsorship
choose to talk to the
opportunities.
foundation or friends. And yeah, there's a desire to be that it's something series-based or
Right.
branded in a way that it is theirs,
Yeah.
so it differentiates from the other classes.
Yeah.
I think this is fabulous. I have just a couple of thoughts. Definitely from a hands-on experience, business that's been here for 15 years, I definitely see a shift in demographics during the summer months. It's 9 months out of the year, our kids are in school. We know what our routines are as parents. We know pick up and drop off and, you know, all those kinds of things. And then all of a sudden it's a tailspin for 3 months. And I even see it not so much with parents who have kids at home, but older children who are in college that are all of a sudden at home, or, you know, they themselves are teachers or whatever, and they get a chance to go on their own vacation. So I do see that. I can, you know, count on it every year that I'm going to have this flip. So that definitely could absolutely play into your demographics of the charts that you're seeing. Have you guys thought about, with the popularity, and like, I'll be honest, I've been wanting to take a class, but I'm like, oh, I always miss the thing. And I didn't honestly personally realize there was now a lottery system. So I'm like, I'm never going to get that, you know, so like I haven't tried, right? And in knowing that, that there might be a chance, is there any cleanup advantage, planning advantage to like, okay, this class is happening on a Tuesday, we're gonna run it Tuesday and Wednesday. And that possibly we could get, you know, a full house both nights. Possibly the instructor is willing to take a little bit of a discount because they just have to rinse and repeat, you know, like right away kind of thing. And also staff hours and effort is reduced because you don't have to change and reset the room. It's just the same.
Yes, we are repeating almost everything twice. So in a given month, when we have 6 classes, there's really only 3 different themes. So if it is a month where Grace is doing Chef's Choice, and that branding came up because we started to suspect, which I believe were correct, that people did not care what Grace was going to make. They wanted to meet Grace, they wanted to be in the kitchen with Grace, and that was a branding change before Chopped happened. It gave her the opportunity as a very busy chef and somebody who wants to lean into the local ingredients, or even in the case of like, oh, I have an abundance of this, I want to use it. It gave her the opportunity to kind of wait until the weekend before the program to choose what she wanted to make. And it's worked out very well. So yes, we run everything twice, but a given month might look like 2 sessions of knife skills with Brian, 2 sessions of, you know, Chef Grace's Chef's Choice, and 2 sessions of making the less. So it could be 3 different things that you're choosing from at different times. And with the lottery system, let's say somebody put their name in every one because they're available all 6 times, they can still only get into 1, and then it would block them from the other 5 because it would know that they've been placed in a 30-day period. We've got that set with IT so that that 30 days is what registers as like you're limited to 1 for 30 days with all the right tagging on the back of the calendar. But certainly, yes, I mean, that does cut. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It was very exciting to know this. I recognize you're not looking to add more, and you are, it sounds like you're brainstorming left and right. I just am curious about any kids classes. I know the Park District offers stuff, and usually it tends to be a little more like cheese and cracker type stuff. But you know, just curious.
So as of right now, the Youth Services Department with Trixie's direction and vision, and this is kind of fitting within their current resources. So certainly if we went a different way, it could look different. But right now, Trixie is projecting that there will be 1 youth program each month in the kitchen, and that will be an alternation between something for kids, 2 sessions, something for tweens, 2 sessions the following month, something, 2 things for teens, so kids, tweens, teens, kids, tweens, teens, including them thinking about parent caregivers. So they are launching in October with Chef Brian. It's the second class he's developed a curriculum for. He's going to be teaching baby food. So that's kind of their purview over, that's their scope right now. Chef Grace has a real great interest in teaching kids and teens. Chef Grace fell in love with the kitchen when she was 12 and is very passionate about like making sure kids get in the kitchen and that they have that chance to be exposed to it when it could mean like a career choice, which is a very nice fit with the idea of our maker place and, career technical education and trades and everything. So certainly there's also an opportunity to hire chefs that have a real good, history of instruction with kids and passion for instruction with kids. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Does that, I took a lot of your time. I'm really sorry.
No, it's good stuff.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, let's move on. We've got a couple
Quickies here.
I think we'll get through this. These I think pretty quick. We're on the old business, action item 5, adoption of proposed revisions to policy 2.006 code of ethics. We talked about this last. At the committee of the whole, we're just adding in section number 9.
Okay, correct. So we added section 9, and then we also made changes to the introductory paragraph on page 1 there. The Board of Library Trustees adopts the American Library Association's Code of Ethics and expects the trustees and staff to interpret the code as appropriate for our library environment. So that was one change that came out of the conversation.
President Zick? I move we adopt the proposed revisions to policy 2.006 code of ethics.
Second.
Need more questions, comments on that one? Okay, roll call.
Trustee Gala,
Yes.
trustee Rule,
Yes.
trustee Smart,
Yes.
trustee Samari,
Yes.
trustee Suplet,
Aye.
President Zick.
Yes. Okay, action item 6, approval of the 2023 library holidays and closing schedules.
Okay, so this is the annual renewal of the closing schedule. Just to note, the Columbus Day was removed from the schedule and an additional observance day was included. We did that in 2021. Juneteenth was added to the schedule in 2022. So those are both included in here.
I move approval of the 2023 library holiday dates and closing schedule.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, okay, that goes through. All right, approval of the action item 7, approval of the 2023 board meeting schedule. So we took out the committee of the whole meetings for January and July. Just incidentally, this March, we canceled that one too. So there's actually 3 times this year, but we'll keep that one in. Anyways, any comments on that or any motion on that?
I move approval of the 2023 board meeting schedule.
Questions on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, and that moves on. All right. We are to item 8, the staff presentation of OB for 2002.
Okay, I would invite Sherry and Neil to tell us about the One Book, One Village selection for the year.
Hello, I am Sherry Taylor. I'm a reader's advisor here at the Arlington Heights Library, and I am co-leading the One Book, One Village this year with Elizabeth Goodman, who's also in info services with me.
My name is Neil Parker. I'm a programs and exhibit specialist at the Arlington Heights Memorial Library. I'm part of the team as well.
Perfect. Well, we're very excited to announce this year's title. You all have a book actually in front of you that you're welcome to keep and take home. This year, we have chosen Clark in Vision by Naomi Hirahara. And I'm also going to pass out 2 examples of our program pamphlets that will be available to our customers to take home. It has a list of information about the book, about all of our programs, our discussions, outreach. Listening to you guys talk earlier, we're very excited to tell you about some stuff about this book because it touches on things like you talked about, like the outreach and that. So, all right. So, One Book, One Village starts with a selection process. We have a selection team that is made up of 15 staff members that are across 7 different departments here at the library. It is a very diverse group of individuals with different opinions, different kinds of roles within the library, and service different audiences in our community. So having that makes up a great group of people that come at it from different angles. So that's helpful. We this year had 29 nominated titles by staff library-wide. What that means is that we asked staff to nominate books that they think would make for a good One Book, One Village. And we had 29 titles that people nominated. Once we have those titles, we look at different things. We try to keep in mind formatting. I know you guys have heard this before. Formatting is extremely important with the different types of regular print, large print, audio, and audiobook. So we keep that in mind. We keep in mind the availability of the author, so that author can come to the library, as well as the availability to program and have discussion around the book. So keeping that in mind, what happens is each individual is assigned out of those 29 nominations. Once we make sure it goes through all those processes, that we read about 2 to 3 titles each individual, and then we write an information sheet based on what we think, whether the book would be a good nomination or a good choice for the community to read or not. So they're read, they're reviewed, and then we deliberate. We have multiple meetings on this. The conversation includes things like, is there a broad appeal? Will our community really want to read? Availability of the format, and then can it sustain a season-long initiative? And this year, our initiative runs from August 26th through November 2nd. So to give you an idea, it's a long initiative. It's 11 weeks. We want to make sure that. Also this year, we made a point to consider and make sure that the title we chose, or the books that we were looking at, supported our EDI, which is our equity, diversity, and inclusion. We wanted to make sure that it was an important selection, and it actually became very natural. Most of the books that were chosen did fit the EDI. We also found that after last year, we wanted to make sure one of the choices was going to give us a youth services tie-in. That was another thing that we appreciated after last year, that our youth services were able to participate in the One Book, One Village as well. So after all this process, it genuinely came up with a top 2. And when I say top 2, in this whole nomination process you see and we vote, we came up with basically a dead ringer for 2 top titles. I mean, there was like neck and neck. So we presented those 2 top choices to LAT, and LAT made the final decision on book, which is One Book, which is Clark and Division. So our other choice, if you're interested, was Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris. And actually right away, once we found out that was going to be the choice, we chose that as our Juneteenth book discussion. We made sure that because we found it a very good book, and then we wanted to make sure we discussed it with our community when we did it for our Juneteenth book discussion.
Okay, a little bit about the book. So as Sherry said, we had 2 very strong contenders. I believe that really the kind of local aspects historically here, as well as some of our community members, really, put this one over the top. So it is a resident mystery with deep humanity and the local tie. It's set in Chicago in 1944, and it's meticulously researched historical fiction, plus a mystery, a gripping mystery that's set against the background of World War II and the incarceration of Japanese Americans in internment camps. So there's a number of things here, just doing local history programs. We know in programs that folks love those. We know that World War II is another big thing that people love as well. And any opportunity that we can get to discuss these historical issues, and certainly issues like the internment of Japanese Americans, and bring that out, especially with this local focus, I think is extremely important. So just a quick summary on the book, and then I'll move on. The book follows the Ito family and like 120,000 Japanese Americans. They were interned in internment camps, in this one in California. The main character, Aiki, her sister gets to leave a little bit early and comes to Chicago. There is the mystery, I'm not giving too much away, but there is a death, and Aiki kind of explores Chicago to try to see what actually happened to her sister. What's wonderful about this book is that the city of Chicago almost is another character in and of itself. If you're familiar with the city, especially the north side, you'll recognize a lot of these places. The Newberry Library comes up very often, as well as the L itself. So it's just, it's a really fun, and not fun in terms of the theme, but it, as a person that, you know, loves Chicago, loves local history, I think that folks are really going to be into it. Relevance for Arlington Heights was extremely important for us. So the appeal of a historical mystery. So this is our first mystery that we've done since our first one book, which I think is, you know, really important, and just kind of paying attention to checkouts. When I worked in info, historical fiction, mysteries, those are the first ones to go. So I think it's going to be incredibly exciting for our residents. It has very vivid local appeal with the Chicago setting. People will recognize these places, and you know, they will just absolutely love that. Arlington Heights also has a very large Japanese and Japanese American population, and it is, if you take a look per capita across the country, for example, Arlington Heights has 8 times higher population of foreign-born Japanese Americans than the rest of the United States, and 6.4% higher than of folks of a Japanese background than anywhere else in the United States. So this is really kind of something that we wanted to go with and connect with that community as well. A couple other things here. This is the first one book initiative to focus on the Japanese American experience and identity. This would be the first one book initiative with the Japanese American author. And this would be the first one book initiative in 8 years to be a mystery. So we're really excited to roll that out, and I think our residents will be as well.
All about the books. And I talked about one of the things we really consider and what's important to us is the formatting. And we were very, very excited that this book does come in all formats. So we will have, as you can see, regular print as well as large print, as well as audio CD, which we find more and more difficult to find books that come in audio CD. So this one was, we're very excited that it came in that format as well. And then it will be available through e-audiobook and e-book on Cloud Library. So with that said, also exciting that this is an author that has other books. So we will have some author tie-ins. She is the author of a nonfiction book called Life After Manzanar, which Manzanar is the internment camp that the Ito family is in during the book. And so she wrote this book. It's a heavily illustrated nonfiction book. And we're really lucky to get a copy, and we'll have a copy available for customers to check out because there's not a lot of copies out there. So we're excited to get that. She's also a very well-known mystery author and has numerous series. So we are excited to have those books as well available. So as you can see, we have plenty of books stacked there. These books not only include, you can see that over here, the kind of a yellow tab, those are what we call our info service tab or take books. All those books are for our book clubs. So that includes our internal book discussions, our community book discussions, as well as our community book clubs. And I'm happy to report that we sent out an email on August 2nd, giving our community book clubs an early preview of what the title was, as well as offering them the ability to start signing up for book discussion sets. As of today, we have 138 books out to 16 different groups. So, and that is already two groups away from meeting our goal for the year for one book window. So it's off to a great start already. And we mentioned that. Another great thing is we are offering our youth services tie-ins. We will have 3 titles that youth services will be doing some programming and having their audiences read as well. For our youngest readers, we have a picture book called Fish for Jimmy. For our tweens, we have a book called Dash. And then for our teens, we have one called We Are Not Free. And so all three of those titles will be available as well. And we'll be doing some programming based on the themes in Park Division.
Okay, all the programs. So for adult programs, we will have 14 programs, including Naomi's author visits. Some of the programs, some of these came out a little bit earlier, but we do have the stab bookbinding program. This is going to be kind of low key, about 15 to 18 folks, because it is very resource heavy. It can be expensive, but we've got 2 sessions of that. We have 2 culinary sessions in the Make Your Place kitchen with Nikki. She's going to do tea this time, not coffee. We have Sarah Ogner, who is a librarian from Vernon Hills, come and give a personal story about her family history. This program is called Life in a Japanese American Internment Camp for Grandparents. We're in a Japanese internment camp. We have a virtual program in genealogy, an introduction to Japanese American genealogy. We have a visit from a Manzanar Ranger that's also virtual coming to speak. We have a special Dan and Raymond, and we have a storytelling performance called Sakura Tales by Anshi Majima, who had done a program with us earlier in the year on near the anniversary of the executive order that was signed to insure Japanese Americans. And I'm leaving out a big one here, and that is that we are going to host a history of the neighborhood, which comes up in the book. It's called The History of Japanese American Chicago, with Eric Matsunaga. Eric Matsunaga is sort of a local legend in the North Side and exploring Japanese American experience. He actually acted as advisor for Naomi to get some of her information, because she's from California, Sacramento, I believe. So that's a really important credit as well. Most of these programs will be in person, because we were kind of visualizing that would be the best way to go. Certain programs we do have virtual though, so that those are still accessible. We've got some great youth programs as well, 4 programs for kids, tweens, and teens. And this will also include a virtual author visit from Kate Yamasaki, who is the creator of Fish Virginia. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you talk about it.
We're doing 10 different book discussions as well. That would include 2 ESL, 3 senior center, and then 5 adults. Discussion on the book as well.
We also have a book discussion with the Village. So Programs was contacted from Village Hall, and we're doing a book discussion over there. And then we also have a book discussion with JSC, the Japanese American Society of Chicago. Catalina Shin and I will be facilitating that one. So we're really excited about it. And Sherry will talk more about JSC. It's a wonderful partnership that we'll continue to outreach. Okay, Naomi. So this one is interesting. Naomi is coming in person Thursday, October 27th at Forest View Auditorium, and we are also going to try to make this hybrid for everyone. There's a number of reasons why we want to do that. We want to get people in there. We know people love to see authors in person. We also recognize, based on the numbers from the previous 2 years, if there's anything good that COVID gave us, it was the ability to get out there and get some great programming virtually out there. So we're working with Forest View to make this hybrid thing happen, and we're really excited about it. Naomi will be in conversation with Eric Matsunaga, who is going to be presenting in September, and this is their friends. This should be a really nice sort of intimate conversation between the 2 of them. Sherry mentioned a little bit about Naomi. So she's the Edgar Award-winning author of the Officer Ellie Rush mysteries. She received her bachelor's degree in international relations from Stanford University and studied at the University Center for Advanced Japanese Studies in Tokyo. And then she's also the author of the Matsurai mystery series and middle grade novel, 1001 Crates. Most of her writing deals with the Japanese American experience, and we're really excited to bring that to the community around Robinson Heights.
Well, outreach, we talked about this is becoming a very important part as well. And her name's been mentioned, but Catalina Shin, who is our community engagement liaison and community and circulation services, has done an amazing job with finding ways to get this book and make connections within our community. So we have a very dedicated staff member who will make sure that we are reaching out to the Japanese American population. There will be 5 tables in the community. Some of them are already mentioned. So we will be at Heritage Fest coming on the 27th. We will have a table promoting this book. And there will be at the farmer's market. We'll be at, I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize, but Kinokuniya bookstore, which is inside Mitsuwa Marketplace. So we'll have a table there, and then there'll also be a funding fest. So, and then at Mitsuwa Marketplace. So, and then as Neil mentioned, we have a book discussion with the Village of Arlington Heights, as well as a ESL book discussion that will happen at that bookstore within inside Mitsuwa. And then we have formed this great relationship with the Japan American Society of Chicago, as well as the Japan Exchange and Teaching Alumni Association for Young Professionals. So all those we have reached out with. The Japanese American Society of Chicago is very, very excited about this. They will have a presence at the author event, as well as be doing a book discussion collaboration with us. They're going to be promoting our programs on their website. They are going to like I said, cross promote our events, and they just have added this amazing. When I go to show you the website, okay, they've helped out so much with a lot of our resources that we're providing, extra resources we're providing to the community. So.
Yeah, the promotion that they're doing on their website for the author visit as well, I think is another reason why I heard so for this event, so we can really maximize the audience.
So I mentioned the website. The website is not completely up, but I do want to show you in a second this interactive map that our librarians here at the library put together, which is amazing. But on our website, you'll find which the website address will be hml.info/onebook. And it will be up and running next week as well. So, but on this website, we'll have information about the book and about the author, how to attend, and direct links to attending discussions, all of our programs, as well as a sheet to fill out if you would like your book club to get a set of books. There'll be something for that. And then these last two are what I mentioned that our info service librarians really spend a lot of time doing, and definitely highlight, and you should look at. The Explore More will have a ton of different resources with different things to look at based on the book. And then this interactive map. They put this interactive map together, which is a story map, and it will be, so this is Clark Division, the book. So all these little map things you see up there are all the locations you read about in the book. And they have gone through
So cool.
and found information based in 1940s about these locations. And so everything will have a map where it's located. And then it will slide to the next page. It'll show you where it's on the map. So the Mark Twain Hotel is part of the story. It gives you a little information. It gives you some historic pictures that they found as well. You want to just keep kind of clicking so you can see. So yeah, each of residence, this is what it, picture what it looked like on LaSalle Street in 1940. The building still stands. So in that sense, Clark Division subway station, the L or the subway takes a big part of the story too. So this is kind of exciting. Anyone's ever read the L, in a sense. Funeral home, East Chicago Police Station, Montrose Cemetery in Japanese, I said. Mausoleum. Bible Institute. So these are just some of the locations in the book. Chicago Northwestern Building, Library Square, which is a very interesting place. I learned all about it. Never knew about it. Neighborhood, Northwestern University Law Library, Baby Ruth Candy Factory, the movie theater, Haven Station, Oak Street Beach. These are all part of Tingling Candy Shop. Marshall Fields and Company, two buildings.
All of these locations kind of
That's great.
play a role in the book and are in some ways definitely the L, the Newberry.
Yes, yeah,
are all
Newberry
set up
is,
characters.
is where Aki has a job, and so that's kind of exciting. We're from a library, and the library experience back in the 1940s, so yeah. So we're really excited about this book for many reasons, as you can tell. And Neil's gonna tell you about the actual launch of it.
Yeah, just one more slide and we'll get to some questions. So the launch timeline. We've been anticipating this for a while and I believe that anticipation is growing. So the official launch date is going to be August 26th, and that coincides with the display for Parking Division, which will be going up on the same date. I just, our communications and marketing department graphics does such a wonderful job with these over the years. I'm really looking forward to seeing this year's display. We've got the newsletters, which should hit the houses the week of August 21st. And the website is going to coincide with the arrival of the newsletter. So it'll be sort of a soft launch. It's not going to be publicized until we make the announcement, but it will be there for folks that want to check it out. Any questions?
First of all, I know her from my Barnes and Noble days. She has a very soft spot in my heart, and what a fantastic book. I've actually read it. And a good job. Have we reached out to the Japanese school here?
I was gonna say Futabaki.
Yes.
Yeah.
Catalina is, and like I said, I know our youth services is also working. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but the state of Illinois just passed a act for the first time to be instituted in 2022, which is making Asian American history part of the requirement. Yeah, so this ties nicely to that. So I know our youth services have also reached out to the schools, being that we're just getting back into schools. They're just getting some responses now, but I know that school has also been on the list.
And I think my last comment is hats off to the staff again. Every year, you guys make this thing bigger and better, and more about our community. And this is a very touching book. And, I'm extremely proud of you guys for picking this book, because, the second largest population in this town is Japanese. So spot on for your intuitiveness and your intelligence in picking this. And you should be very proud.
The programming sounds amazing. And the fact that you're going to Mitsuwa, I mean, so smart. Yeah, I'm excited. It's funny because I can't make that. I can be online, but I can't actually be there. But now I'm thinking, I just need to go to these other events because I can go to the other events in person. And I just met someone that said, you should go to an ESL book discussion, even though you're an English speaker or English is my first language. Because sometimes people in those discussions want to hear from people that don't speak their language. Anyway, all the options are really great, so that if you can't make a certain date, it doesn't feel intimidating to go to some of the other ones.
Worked really hard programs, worked really hard to put together another great suite of programs and book discussions. You guys are killing it. And we're kind of seeing the excitement I think shared with the book clubs.
And that's really good because my book club, actually someone, sent it out, but we're going to do it for October. So we're not in your count. So I'm sure you'll have more book clubs that want to do it for October instead of September.
And once the newsletter comes out and the website launches, we'll get more. These are just, like I said, just to give you an idea, I sent out to 50-something groups. I've only heard back from 18 groups.
Right.
But that just might be.
And some groups don't meet in the summer. My group does, but not every group does.
And
Right.
we want to tell them early enough so that they'll make sure that it is a 4-week checkout. We want to get to as many
Put it on your schedule.
groups as possible. And some people, like you said, want to talk to. Some people will, I think, might not be until November, but we include all those numbers.
Yes.
I'm just super excited. super excited. I love mysteries. I love
Yeah.
historical
Why don't you
fiction. That's
love
the
that?
check,
You love
check.
this.
And I have a very dear friend who is Japanese American, and we've talked a lot about this, so I'm super excited to share that with her. She's also a librarian at a different library. And we've been talking about at the studio doing some like making teapots for like Japanese. So like I'm excited like to bring this to my studio and be like, hey guys, there's a book you should all read, and we're gonna do this in class. So I'm kind of jazzed. So.
Yeah, this is always my fun time, one of the most fun time of the year is when this book comes out for this year. What I always love about these books is that they're always books, they're a little bit outside of my comfort zone, which is good, and they always make you think. And that's why I'm really looking forward to doing this. So you've always done a good job, and this looks like it looks really good.
It's a Soho imprint, right? Yeah, not a major player. I love that about you guys. I mean, it's not, one of the big guys, right? It's this is gonna make them. I love that about you. This is gonna put them on the map. This is pretty cool. So,
I feel like her 1001 Cranes, that's a middle school.
Right.
I feel like the middle schools that I've worked in read that. So her name might be familiar to some of those kids. Well, will be. Yeah, that's great.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. Okay. Ready, let's keep going on. We are up to other. We have a note here about the ILA conference in October.
Yes, ILA conference coming up October 18th to the 20th. If you'd like to attend or would like us to sign you up, please contact me or Janet. We'll get you registered.
Anybody else have any other?
I have other. This is gonna be hard. It's with a heavy heart and mixed emotions. I must retire and resign my library board trustee position effective Friday, September 30th. I've been honored to serve with all of you and an incredible staff that is one of the finest libraries in the country. Much of the heavy lifting has been done. I feel it is now time for me to have someone else appointed to this position who has the time and ability to focus on the upcoming year. It's so medically related, so you all know. So it's been an honor. I try not to cry.
You failed miserably.
You have my heart.
It's been our honor to work with you, and as Illinois Trustee of the Year, these accomplishments were hard earned and well deserved, and you've led us with great distinction, accomplished so much collectively. I really wish you all the best moving forward.
He tried to talk me out of it. That's why he's saying that, just so you know. I've been thinking about it for the last few months, and we had a long conversation, and we think this is the time is appropriate, so. Okay,
We've got you for another month,
one more month, yeah,
2 more meetings.
yeah.
You're a lot to live up to.
Well, I think there's probably
You're a lot
some
to
pretty
live
good
up to.
people that can
That's
step in
smart.
here pretty easily. That was horrible. You did horrible. I feel.
You can watch yourself on video.
And I'm sure it's all around town already.
Maybe we can.
Yeah, I
edit
got
out.
it recorded. You're good.
Thanks. Yeah, it's probably on Facebook already. So. All right. Okay.
Okay, any other? Okay, can we have a motion, please, to go into closed session?
I motion that we go into closed session.
Based on, yeah.
All right, go into closed session in accordance with 5 Illinois SC for the purpose of reviewing closed session minutes.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going into closed session. It won't take very long.
Hopefully.
This won't take very long. actually after we get done, would be the longest. Anybody want to volunteer to do the minutes?
Sure,
Cheryl,
come on, I'll, you know,
Okay.
You're still broadcasting.
Yeah,
Yeah, we know.
I'm getting out there right now.
All right.
okay, here we go. He's just gonna.
So I'm just.
What's your voice? Have you got this covered?
I love her.
One more
Yeah.
voice.
I haven't
Okay,
heard,
is that
I
good?
remember, I like.
I haven't
wanted
read
to
her yet,
Okay.
but she.
Get it.
I love her.
I feel like the New York Times or
Back
something
on? Yep.
See if I
John,
got
back
it.
in?
gave it a big review and I wanted to get it just because I knew it was
Got
from
it.
Chicago.
I think I did it right.
Okay,
Do I need to
It's a
sign
good
anything?
one.
you're gonna have to seal it in the, sign the,
Oh, I'll do it that with Janet. Okay.
What grade is your son?
He's waiting out in the lobby.
I have a fourth grader and I have a seventh grader. I've never seen one, except for when it is the envelope, so.
He's like 6 feet tall.
I just texted him.
You're good.
Yeah,
He's on.
mine-
Oh, he's on? Okay.
Let's go. Okay.
Okay, yes, we are back in open session, for the Board of Library Trustees for August 16th, 2022. Okay, I am going to need a motion to release the written closed session minutes for, okay, everybody ready?
Yes.
Last second, got a lot to read here. January 19th, 2010, April 20th, 2010, May 18th, 2010, August 17th, 2010, September 21st, 2010, November 16th, 2010, December 20th, 2011, April 9th, 2012, April 12th, 2012, April 13th, 2012, April 16th, 2012, April 17th, 2012, April 28th, 2012, April 30th, 2012, May 4th, 2012, May 7th, 2012, January 15th, the new year, 2013, February 19th, 2013, August 20th, 2013, September 17th, 2013, October 22nd, 2013, December 17th, 2013, August 19th, 2014, September 16th, 2014, October 21st, 2014, November 18th, 2014, July 25th, 2015.
21st.
Sorry,
July
21st.
21st.
July 21st, 2015, August 18th, 2015, January 19th, 2016, February 16th, 2016, April 19th, 2016, May 17th, 2016, June 21st, 2016, July 7th, 2016, July 19th, 2016, August 13th, 2016, August 16th, 2016, August 2nd, August 16th, 2016, September 20th, 2016, December 20th, 2016, January 7th, 2017, getting there, May 16th, 2017, May 30th, 2017, July 12th, 2017, August 15th, 2017, September 19th, 2017, September 25th, 2017, October 3rd, 2017, October 17th, 2017, October 30th, 2017, November 21st, 2017, December 19th, 2017,
Tough year.
January 16th, 2018, January 29th, 2018, March 29th, 2018, April 17th, 2018, May 7th, 2018, May 15th, 2018, June 4th, 2018, June 19th, 2018, and July 17th, 2018. So the
I
motion-
move a motion that we release the minutes as listed by President Zick.
I second.
Okay, any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
You know, those pass. Okay. We also have
For Darth
four
Vader.
that we are going to recommend to destroy the audio recording and to release the written minutes. Those are for July 13th, 2020, July 21st, 2020, August 18th, 2020, and October 5th, 2020.
I so move.
Second.
Comments, questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, that motion is approved.
You have to give this back now.
Yeah, give this back. Okay, we need a motion to approve the closed session minutes.
I move we approve the closed session minutes from tonight's closed session.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, nay. Okay, that passes. And, all right, now all we need is a motion for adjournment.
I'll move that we adjourn.
Good job, John.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are done.
Okay.
Good job, y'all.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.